All right, looks like we are recording now. So welcome, folks. This is Ryan here. And the reason we're doing this is this is probably 30-minute or so introduction to ParentSquare. ParentSquare is a new parent communications hub that our district is using to stay connected with parents, to provide updates to them, distribute forms and documents, and a variety of other things. So the purpose of this little video chat, this little, video, I guess, is to really go over a couple of the introductory things to get a user who is not familiar with ParentSquare ready to start using it. And I got to tell you, it's a pretty easy to use platform. So what you see right here is a really quick outline of the 5 or 6 things that I'm going to demonstrate to you on video right now. And this video right here is also going to be recorded and hosted so that anyone who wants to can come back to this later on. So what you're going to see is I'm going to start by sharing my screen so that we can see the ParentSquare website. So you'll notice that right here I start by navigating to parentsquare.com. I'm going to sign in, and on the sign in page that comes up, I'm going to use my sign in with Google button. All right, that's important because Google already knows who you are. All right, if you're already signed into Google Chrome, or if you've signed into Google to check your email, you're going to log right in. You don't have to put in your name and password. So when I log into ParentSquare, my screen looks a little bit different from yours, perhaps. I'm going to select one building here, and I'm going to use just one building for this example. When you log into ParentSquare, you will see something that looks like this screen right here. Up at the top where it says Herkimer ES, you might see Herkimer High School. All right, so that's just telling you the building that you are currently in. Some of you might have access to multiple buildings. Some of you might have access to only one building, and that's fine, and that depends on how you're built in School Tool and the classes that you have access to and all of that. So what I want to do is, even before we explore this screen here, there's 2 little housekeeping things in terms of your ParentSquare account that we need to look at first. So I would ask everyone to start by going to the top right and click on your name. Underneath your name, you're going to see a little selection that says My Account. And from here, you are able to control a couple of things that are very important. Probably the most important thing on this screen are your notification settings. So what that means is, how do you want to be notified when there is new content in ParentSquare? So what is new content? New content might mean a message from a parent. It might mean someone has replied to a post of yours. It might mean that there is a new post in a group that you are a member of. And all of those things will trigger a notification to you, and you can control how you get notified. So if I come over here to notification settings and I click on customize your settings, you will see fairly limited control that you have over these notification settings. And what you're going to see is, if you look down under general announcements and messages, you can control where you receive your notifications. Notice that I have email notifications on, I have text message notifications off, and then I have my app notifications on. So that means that when there's a new, let's say, post in ParentSquare, I will both receive an email, and if I have the app installed on my mobile device, I will also receive a notification in that app. I can select to receive text messages, but I chose not to. So if you want to change one of those, you click on the little pencil, and you just hit the little toggle button, and it will stay on or off. All right, I'm going to cancel mine because my settings are already how I want them to be. The second thing that you want to control here, or you want to look at, is the frequency. How often are you notified? So you have 2 options here. And so for email and for my app notifications, I can select these separately. I click on the pencil, and you'll see that I can select either instant or a digest. Instant notifications means that as soon as there is a post or content in ParentSquare, I will get that notification to my email. If I select digest instead, that will give me one email at the end of the day at about 4 o'clock. Unfortunately, we cannot change that time. But you'll get one email at the end of the day with all of the updates for ParentSquare. Now, I suggest that if you are new to ParentSquare and setting this up for the first time, you leave your notifications on instant. It may seem like it's going to create a lot of emails for you. And if it does create too many emails, you can simply come back here and change your notifications anytime you want. I'm going to hit cancel because I'm not making any changes to mine. So again, here is where you can control how you receive your notifications and how often you receive your notifications. You will also notice that you cannot turn on and off the emergency alerts and notices. This would be something like an emergency school closing or something like that. All right, that's why this one has to stay on. So once I've made these settings, these changes, I can either click on the X in the top right, or I can click the home button to go back to the home screen in ParentSquare. And anytime you're somewhere in ParentSquare and you don't know how you got there, or you want to start from the same place, I suggest you go to the top left right there and click that home button. So one thing to talk about and really quickly here is ParentSquare is a website, right? So that means that you can access it from any connected device. It doesn't matter if you're on an iPad, or if you're on your cell phone, or if you're on your computer at school, or if you're on your computer at home. It's just a website. However, there is also a mobile device app that goes along with it. And I'll show you what that app looks like in just a little bit. But I tell folks to think about it this way. The app is really ideal for consuming information. That means that it's great for reading and seeing posts and updates, but it's not as user-friendly as the website for creating posts. So my general rule of thumb is if you're just reading, just getting caught up on what's going on in ParentSquare, go ahead and use the app. And that's why it's an ideal tool for parents. But as an instructor, as someone who might be sharing information in ParentSquare, I would recommend, at least to start, you rely on the website. So here is the ParentSquare feed. Really quick explanation of what the feed is. Just like any other social media feed or Facebook or Instagram feed, you're going to see that this is in reverse chronological order. The newest stuff is at the top, and as you scroll, you will get older and older and older content. You will already see content in your feed. Even if you first joined ParentSquare today, you are joining and you are a member of certain groups, and those groups will give you the ability to see things. Across the right, you will see a calendar with upcoming events. These events are pulled automatically from the school district's Google Calendar. You may also see events here if there are events created in a group that you are a member of. If you scroll down, you will see photos and links, and these are things that are controlled by the groups that you're a member of. If I share a photograph to a group that is only a few people, if you're not a member of that group, you're not going to see that photograph here. All right, so that's really a place for media. In the kind of case of a parent, this is where the parent would see all of the photos that you share from your class. Across the left-hand vertical column here, this is where you have controls of ParentSquare. This is kind of like your own control center. All right, three main areas: posts, explore, and participate. And if you roll over them, click on them, you can expand those to see what's underneath them. We're going to look at a couple of these today, but that's really more of kind of like an advanced thing. Up at the top left, if you have access to multiple schools, you will see a button that says Switch School. If you don't see that button, that means you're only set up as a member of one school building. And finally, in the top right, you will see something that says My School, Classes, and Groups. And here, if you click here, you will see a list of all the groups and classes that you are in. Now, I don't see any classes here because I'm looking at the elementary school, but if I were looking at the high school, I would see a list of the classes that I taught here, as well as the groups that I'm a member of. So that's kind of like what the main feed area of ParentSquare looks like. It's fairly simple. It's especially if you are someone who's used to using social media, perhaps Facebook, it has a very reminiscent feel to Facebook. You'll notice that as you look down at some previous posts, you can see that people can reply to posts. All right, and we're going to look at that right now. So the real reason that you want to use ParentSquare is to provide information to your parents. Keep that in mind. This is not for students. This information doesn't necessarily go to students. This is a way to connect with the parents of the kids in your classes. So what you share here should be created for the parents of your students. To do that, you start by clicking on the New Post button. Now, when you click on that New Post button, it's going to open up what kind of looks like an email editor. All right, and it's very reminiscent of writing an email. So you will start by selecting the name of the class or group that you want to share this post with. You cannot put an individual's name here, only a group. Now, if you click, you will see that you get some pre-filled options. All right, if you are a teacher and have some classes, set up, you will see those classes listed here. You can select multiple classes, multiple grades, or multiple groups to share content with. So if I select this one, Herkimer ES, that's Herkimer Elementary School, that means everyone in the elementary school is going to get this update. If I instead selected just the name of one of my classes, or let's say just second grade, that would mean everyone in second grade is going to see this update. Or if I selected a class, I'm going to use Mrs. Wheeler's staff here. If I selected one of her classes, only the people in her class would see that update. And I can select and put multiple groups here. So I start by selecting who do I want a post to go to. Then I select who do I want to see it, staff and or parents. All right, so I can turn these check buttons on or off. And you'll notice that as I do, on the right, you will see a list or a number of how many people will receive this update. That's kind of a really quick way for you to know if you are sharing something to the right group. If you think you're sharing something with just one class, and then this little box on the right says you're going to alert 100 people, that's probably something that tells you, oh, wait, something's wrong, something's not working the way I thought it was. Let's wait before I share something. So you set your who is going to see the post. Then you select whether you want staff or parents to see it. And then you have a subject and a body, just like you would in an email. So I'm going to say, I'm just going to call this sample post. All right. And I'm going to type something in the body here. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. All right. So now I've got just a regular, like I said, just like an email. All right. I can do things like attach a link. I can insert a link. I can insert a photograph. I can insert a video. There's a lot of things that I can insert into my post. I can highlight my text and I can make it bold. I can align it differently. I can create a list. All of those things in a text editor that you would normally be able to do. If you look across the left here, you've got some other tools that you can also add to one of your posts. For example, you want to send home a post to all of your parents and include a permission slip for a field trip. Maybe that's not appropriate right now, but we can do that. You can send home a form and have parents sign it digitally and send it back. You can attach photos. You can attach this little ask for items button here will allow you to say something along the lines of, we need 10 boxes of tissues for Mr. Aurelio's class. Who can volunteer to bring in one? And it will track all that for you and say, oh, Mr. Matthew volunteered to bring in a box of tissues. Great. So now let's look at this. The last part of creating a post is back to these notification options on the right. You have these options first up in the top here. Do we send to everyone right now, or depending on if they selected instant or digest? Do we send instantly to everyone, or do not notify? Now, if you select do not notify, that means that this post will appear in the feed only, and everyone else will not get an email or any other notification for it. They won't see the post until they log into ParentSquare and look at the feed. Again, this box tells you how many recipients are going to receive what you post. And then down here, before I click this Post Now button, I've got this little drop-down arrow next to it. If I select that, now you'll notice that I can schedule a post. So I could create something on Friday afternoon and schedule a post to go out Monday morning if I wanted to. Post now means it'll post this right now. I can just save this as a draft, or I can even preview it to see what it'll look like. For right now, I'm going to click the preview button just so that we can see what this will look like. Excuse me. All right. Super simple. All right, this is exactly what your post will look like in your feed. What this means is the name of the post is sample post. It was posted by Ryan Aurelio, and this first grade Art 1, this is telling me what groups can see this post. Because remember, it's not going to be everybody. You would only see this post if you are a member of one of these groups. All right, so I'm going to hide the preview, and I'm not going to share this right now because this is just a meaningless little post. X out of it, or hide preview right here. And now I'm just going to come down and I am going to, I'm going to X out of this up top, and I'm not going to share that. Oh, go back to home right up top here. All right, so now that I'm at, I've created a post. We've looked at your notification settings. We've looked at everything that's on ParentSquare here. There's one other thing that I want to show you. All right, and that is how to message your colleagues or parents. When you are in ParentSquare and a member of a school, so I'm in Herkimer Elementary School, I'm at the top level right here. I have a button called Messages. So what this is this is a direct message tool. And you'll notice that when I click on mine, you're going to see a number of messages that I have with other folks. All right, because we started to test this out and we did a lot of testing back and forth. But just like text messaging on your phone, text messaging in any other tool that you might use, this is super reminiscent of that. All right, messages do not go to groups though. They can go to multiple people, but you can't send a message to, let's say, everyone in my 5th period class. I click the new message button, and I'm going to get a super simple box. In recipients, I'm just going to type the name of the person that I want to message. All right, so I'm going to start with Mr. Matthew, and I'm going to send a message to Mr. Matthew. If I wanted to, I could send a message to someone else. All right, other building, sorry. If I wanted to, I could include other people and include other people on a message. And if I do that, now you'll see that I get this option of whether I want it to be private or a group. I'm just going to send a message only to Mr. Matthew, and I'm just going to say, hello, Mr. Matthew, and click send. Now that I do that, you'll see that I have another thread that comes up here under messages. And this is a great way to, chat with parents that does not have them fill your inbox. It does not provide your cell phone number to anybody, and it doesn't provide you with anyone else's cell phone number. But if someone has the app installed on their device, they can essentially text from their phone, back and forth with a teacher. You can do this with your colleagues, and you can do this with parents. It's a great tool, and I definitely encourage you to test it out. So I'm going to go back to home here because I have one more thing that I want to demonstrate, and that is the mobile device app. So ParentSquare has an app for a mobile device. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen right there. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to share my phone with you so that you can see what this looks like on my phone. So now you should be able to see my cell phone, or my cell phone's coming right up on the screen here. All right, so this is an iPhone. And you're going to notice that I've already got the ParentSquare app installed on here. So I'm just going to swipe down, search for the apps, and I'm going to tap on the ParentSquare app to open this up. Now, remember I said the ParentSquare app is really ideal for consuming information. All right, so it's great for parents, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend you use this to share posts. In this app, you will see the feed, just like we saw on the website when we were logged into the website. In the top right, you will see the 3 lines, which is usually a menu button. And if you tap on that, you can select schools, classes, groups. You can select your account, and you can update your information there if you wanted to. If I tap on schools, I can see a different school if I'm a member of different schools. I can come across the bottom and see my messages, my direct messages with people. I can see events and events that are on a calendar. You'll notice that there are certain days that have events on them, and you can see them identified on the calendar. And if there's any media that is shared with me, I can see that. Up in the top right, I've got a plus button. If I wanted to create a really quick post or a really quick event, I could do that. But again, I really encourage you guys to use the website tool or the website portal for sharing that type of stuff. So I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to go back to my home right here. And that's the app. The app is really simple. It's free. You can get an Android version of the app, or you can get an iOS version of the app. I definitely recommend you install it on your mobile device, and because it works pretty well. I'm going to stop sharing right now. Excuse me. And that's really about it for ParentSquare. Really quick, just kind of like demonstration of a couple of the things that you want to be able to do with ParentSquare as an instructor, because it's a fantastic tool for staying connected with the parents of your students. Set it up, give it a try, and then if you're struggling or you want additional help, reach out to myself and Mr. Matthew, and we can set a time to do a one-on-one with you. Once you've already gone through the setup process. All right, so I guess that's about it. I'm going to stop recording now, and I hope that if you tuned in, this is something that was valuable for you.